Welcome back. This is the final regular season week of this season of Sock League. It's gone by quite fast. Few teams will still have the playoffs to look forward to, but this will be some of our guys' last week of real action, unless we're counting the AIDS Bowl. But yeah, it was an interesting week. Huge implications this week with a few of our matchups. So
I beat Griffin.
Let's get right into the news.
I beat him. All right, we're back with the news. A couple trades to talk about. This was a trade deadline, so this is the last time you're going to hear about trades in this league until the offseason. But Trevor traded Matthew Stafford in exchange for Tom Brady to Steve. He did need that because we'll talk about what happened to Lamar when Adam goes over injuries.
Yeah.
It was a trade.
Yeah, I don't really know what... I don't know. Like, I get why Trevor did it. I don't know why Steve did it. Granted, like, Brady's not going to do anything for you much after this year, but, like, Stafford could also easily just call it quits. His elbow might be shot, so, like, it's not like... I don't know. I think I'd be happier with, like, a third than Stafford, or, like, just, like, a young guy or something. Like, you can just take a shot at any young player and just hope they turn out into something, rather than just, like, oh, I got an also old guy that's also might be cooked.
Yeah, I mean, surface level, it's like QB for QB. Trevor needs it. I see your point for Steve. You know, maybe take a shot on somebody who
could have value. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. And the big trade this week, Adam traded George Kittle, Greg Dulcich, and a second in exchange for Bengals legend CJ Uzama and Kyle Pitts.
That I did.
I like the move for you. I think you are the self-proclaimed tight end university. You did have a lot of them. Kittle, he's on the older side, and I think for Zach it's a good piece to have. You know, when he does good, he really does good. He has like Kelsey upside, I think, when he's not playing left tackle. And for you, I mean, Pitts is hurt, probably not going to be relevant for the rest of the fantasy season, but it's a good young piece to have, especially with Atlanta probably getting a new quarterback next season.
Yeah, that's one of the things I am still afraid about. I don't know if I overpaid, but I don't know. When talking with Zach, we kind of felt like it was like a really good move for both of us, because like you look at Zach's window, it's like this year, next year, and the year after, basically, because it's like by then it's the Adams, CMC, like some of these guys, it's like that's where you might need to sell off. And Kittle, like you see Ertz and Kelsey playing into their like 32, 33. Kittle's just turned 29, so he should have like 2-3 years left. And I like Dulcich is a promising tight end, so like I think this week he had a pretty good week. He had like 14 points or something. So if the Broncos offense gets better, not scoring like 1.17 touchdowns a game, and he gets more involved, like I thought there was a lot of upside for him. But obviously Pitts, insane rookie season for a tight end. This year the numbers weren't really there fantasy wise, but like I think just Atlanta's passing offense, one's really there. I am afraid that they don't draft a QB, which could happen because right now they're at pick 10, so it's like unless they're trading up to get someone, or if they go sign someone, but like the free agency class doesn't seem amazing, plus he'll be off injury. But my thought was I'll still have Goddard, so then even if I win this week, or I did still think I was going to be Matt, get into the playoffs, it's like I'll have Goddard back for the playoffs and I'll have him next year. So it's like I don't need Pitts to be a producer right away, but then maybe late next season or the year after, it's like when he really when I'm hoping he really steps into his role, and it's like then is kind of when I could figure it out. But I don't need something right this minute at the tight end position.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think Pitts has a lot of upside there. I was kind of intrigued in Dolchich this year. Obviously, he is on the Broncos offense, which has doing anything but riding.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that's it for trades this week. It's kind of a dead deadline.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I think it was a little bit issue too with the
timing of it.
Yeah, and not exactly knowing when it was gonna end, which that's one of the only things I don't really love about Sleeper. I wish you could just be like, I want our deadline to be like kind of how they do with the draft. Like, I could just pick this day, this Tuesday at noon, or like this Sunday at 1, and then I could just set it for then instead of just being like, okay, it's this week, and it's like, okay, is it at the very end of the game? Is it at that night? That's like one of my few complaints with Sleeper. Just have a more flexible trade deadline.
Because I originally thought it was going to be like this morning, like when the weekly report comes out. That's usually when like the week officially ends. But when they said when this week's games end, they meant the NFL games, because it was like right after the Saints and Bucks finished. It was like, nope, no more trades.
Yeah, but yeah, they really only give you could pick whatever week you want. The trade deadline. If they had a little more flexibility, I think it would be cool. Maybe we could have even done it like, I don't know, like 1 o'clock today or something, or like 12 o'clock, where it's like, we are recording Sock Talk a little bit later, but normally kind of record around like 1. So it's like just have it at 12, everything done then. You get like the rest of Monday night and then Tuesday morning to make a move or something, or even just pick like Monday at midnight. Just so then it's like, okay, we all know it's at this time no matter what happens. But I don't know, maybe I could try to figure something out for next season with the deadline, and just maybe even just automatically change it, and then when like to no deadline, and then when it is, I could just trade it to like the week before or something. I don't know, but that's something to discuss.
Yeah.
In the off season.
Now let's send it over to Adam for the injury report.
Yeah, one of the big ones. They're kind of talking a lot today, but Kenneth Walker. They thought it might have been a Liz Frank, but it turns out to be more of a foot sprain. Interesting to kind of see what they do. Seattle's definitely in the hunt. They're, I think, the last wild card team right now, fighting with Washington, it looks like. So they definitely could use their like best running back offensive player so far. Well, not offensive, maybe offensive player, but their best running back. So that'll be something to monitor, how soon they want to get him back. You also don't want to overdo it with a rookie and hurt your second-round pick. But, I don't know, it seems like it's kind of like week to week. Don't know if the outlook looks great for this week, but maybe a week or two after. Not completely sure. Waddle, he ended up being limited in the last game with like a leg injury and missed some time, but I think so far, like it looks like he went back in the game, I'm pretty sure, so like it looks like he should be good, but I don't know if he's aggravated, and especially a receiver that wins with like some like speed is like his main tool. If he's kind of dinged up and maybe not 100%, I wonder if his like production will drop a little bit. Not really sure, but he should be fine. They said Mike Williams, another one of Evan's guys, might practice this week. Getting Mike Williams back would probably be huge for Evan this week as one of the better options. It kind of seems like this is around the time, either this week or next, because it's usually 4 weeks with a high ankle. We've seen 2. The last 2, I think, were the ones he missed. So we'll see if he gets back. Lamar, PCL sprain. They said it kind of started as like days to weeks, but now it seems like he's going to be out this week for sure, and kind of week to week after that. Lamar, like, sneaky, hasn't been doing good. Like, I think he had like an amazing first 3 or 4 weeks, and then after that has just kind of been doing okay. But his numbers still look really good because of those first 3-4 weeks. So hasn't been exactly the like top 3, top 5 QB we've been expecting, kind of with just the rushing upside and everything. But that could also be with look at the offensive talent around him.
Yeah.
And
I think if you look at their receiver core, like every time one of them gets hurt, like Lamar starts doing like a slightly worse, which I know shouldn't be the be all end all for a QB, but when your number one receiver is Demarcus Robinson, I think there might be some issues.
And Andrew's been banged up a little bit this year, missed a few weeks.
Yeah.
Greg Roman is also a very bad offensive coordinator.
Absolutely.
It looks like that's one of the things. If Lamar leaves, I feel like he might do better on any other team. Which is like he's been really good on the Ravens, but you put him on any other team, if he does decide to walk in free agency, I wonder if he does even better there.
So Carolina.
Anywhere. Literally anywhere.
But that anywhere is Carolina.
It possibly could be.
I hope it is.
Sutton hurt his hamstring, like one of the first few plays of the game, so he basically missed that entire game. Hamstrings, obviously, especially with like receiver skill position, really tricky. Don't want to rush back because it's really easy to re-injure. So, seems questionable for this week. Unsure if he plays, but
I think if he misses like more than 2 weeks, I wouldn't be shocked if he was just shut down. It's not like the Broncos are doing anything.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that is a very good point you make there. Broncos
country's not right.
Yeah, kind of out of contention. Mixon still out with a concussion. It's been
4 weeks, I think.
I don't think I think that was 2.
Was it 2?
I don't fully. He's missed, just 12 and 13. He got hurt in 11. I think he is expected to clear concussion protocol this week and probably be back. So that's good for him, but 2 weeks for a concussion can be scary, obviously. Another person with a concussion, Burks,
he got killed.
Crazy catch, but then they just kind of murdered him, helmet right to his head. Somehow he still held on. I don't know how.
Listen, I think with the way he was on the ground after he was knocked out, I don't think the football was coming out if you hit the football.
Yeah, crazy catch.
They took the football out of his hands, and his hand was still like this.
Yeah. It was definitely a scary one. Hoping he's all right. He was definitely showing a lot of promise these past few weeks. Cooks was out with a calf injury. Was it a calf injury?
It was an injury.
He's kind of, like we said earlier, kind of done there. I think the Texans also realized, let's just get this number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So
they're three-dimensional tanking.
We don't really need to rush you back for anything with Kyle Allen as our QB.
Yeah, that's not good.
So who knows if he comes back, if he plays. Baker was obviously cut and then claimed by the Rams. So
bye Baker.
I think this could have minimal implications or really big, because you got to think McVay, obviously a really good offensive mind. Baker, obviously not good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, don't say Baker's good at anything.
So this year, obviously, I'm not expecting him to do much. Look at their team.
Yeah.
You don't know any receivers they're throwing out.
They're throwing to Ben Skoranek and Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
And they have Cam Akers to hold down the run
When they're throwing out down people that, I don't even know. Their whole offense is, probably... Well, their whole offense that's currently healthy, besides maybe Higbee, probably replaced next year.
Yeah.
So, everywhere, this is even a lot
Cam
of the
Akers
defense.
is safe.
Yeah, definitely that. And then, I don't know. It's interesting what happens with Stafford's elbow. Did they claim Baker to finish out this year and then just ditch him? Or are they going to keep him and try to just turn Baker into kind of what McVay did with Goff? Kind of just be like, we're going to keep super simple. Just make this throw and move on with your day. Don't think. Kind of like that. But then if he does that, next year, what could that mean for Kupp?
Yeah.
Does he turn Kupp into DJ Moore with Baker? Does he turn him into OBJ with Baker?
Baker just hates his receivers. I'll say it.
Yeah, especially the good ones.
Yeah.
And then now we are getting a little bit closer to draft time. So Jackson Smith-Njigba is sitting out the bowl games, but he did declare he's going to start focusing on the draft. So he'll be a first-round pick in Dynasty, probably a first-round pick.
I'd say top 6 in Dynasty.
Yeah, could be depending on where and when he gets drafted. Because I've heard reports probably either getting drafted in the first, but also missing the whole season with a hamstring injury. Some concern. Gonna kind of have to see what he does at the combine, if he does the combine, but probably a first or second round NFL receiver taken. And then Kayshon Boutte, he's going back to school, so probably didn't hear great stuff from draft scouts, so decided to go back, try to improve his stock. I think this definitely hurts him, because I think this kind of takes him from being like a George Pickens type prospect to like a Ryan Edwards type prospect, and just maybe he goes back, lights the world on fire, shows why he should be a first round pick, but I don't know, definitely something to watch there going back. But that is the news.
No. What's our next segment?
Power rankings and some playoff stuff and other Adam talking points.
Adam rambles coming up next.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
All right. Welcome back for the power rankings, everything like that. So, got a lot to talk about, so we're going to try to get through it in a reasonable amount of time. Number 12, have Cherry. 2-11. He didn't have a good week. His best player got hurt, but he is welcoming these losses with open arms. I think the main thing here too, Jameson Williams finally got back.
He played a snap.
Yeah, he ran blocks. I don't really think you could trust to start him until he actually does something in a game. But it is good to see him back. Maybe week 16, 17, he kind of gets more initiated into the offense, and we kind of get to see what he is. But yeah, right now it seems like he's someone you got to kind of wait and see before you're able to play him.
Yeah.
But it is good that he's back out there. Number 11, I have Matt, 3-10, got the big win over me. This is also, he beat me by 5, and it definitely didn't help that Cortland Sutton and Treylon Burks both went out in the first quarter.
No, that probably would have made things a little more interesting.
Yeah, probably. But wasn't how the cookie crumbled on that day. So Matt gets win 3 on the year, and he broke 100. So
first time since week 4 or 5?
I don't fully remember, but
it was one of them.
One of them. Number 10, I have Steve. Steve's at 4-9. Again, played Ethan really close. Only lost by 2 points. Didn't help that Jeff Wilson had to carry for 3 yards and no catches.
I think that was one of his big guys to trade. Definitely didn't help trying to trade that.
Yeah.
I don't want to pile on the kid, but I think trading Jeff Wilson should have happened a couple weeks ago before he decided to not be involved.
Yeah. AJ Dillon had a good week, though. He was a younger player. Donovan Peoples-Jones a few good weeks in a row. Najee did solid and
I think it was his best game of the year. What?
No. This was...
Or I saw Steelers fans saying it was the best he looked this year.
Oh, yeah. He had that crazy stiff arm where he just
he dribbled him.
Yeah, dribbled him. It was pretty interesting, so that's good. 9, I have you. 5-8. Got the big win over Griff.
First time in 4 years.
And I think this is officially the time of the year. Kind of happens every year where all the bad teams start to randomly get good because they're bad, so they have all the backups and stuff, and then some starters get hurt. So then you see people that aren't really some great contributors.
I mean, Christian Watson is the GOAT.
Yeah, that's true. But Steve having, Jerick McKinnon doing good for him. Not
Yeah, a couple
necessarily
teams that can
more
play spoiler
normal. Matt enjoying DeMarcus Robinson's 11 points. Probably might be out of the league next year. You having, Taysom Hill do
13.
whatever he does. He's got to be the most frustrating player in all of football.
Yeah, no, he is.
And the Saints are idiots for using him. It's like, let's throw this to our 34-year-old scat back QB tight end, and
Special teamer.
It doesn't make. It's like they were behind Peyton for however long Peyton was there, and are just like, he did pretty good. Let's not do what he did, and let's ignore like our good players and Mark Ingram let's put Mark Ingram in hurt so he runs out of bounds. Yeah, but Cam Akers,
he did it.
He scored twice. He didn't actually do that good.
Hey,
17 carries for 60 yards.
He did it.
Okay. But yeah, Christian Watson.
8 touchdowns in 4 games. I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about Christian Watson.
Unfortunately, he is on a bye this week, so I think the streak comes to an end. But
yeah, I think it's interesting. It partially kind of, I don't know. I wonder if this is the highest his value will ever be. I think that's a fair thing to think about, as in, you kind of look at Chase Claypool as another guy who it was had an insane run of just some big games his rookie year and then kind of fizzle out. But he's also just seems to have Rodgers' trust. They look for him in the red zone.
Yeah, I mean,
he's got good speed.
They even have plays designed for him. So
yeah, they've kind of had that all year. It'll be, I don't know. Each week he makes me more of a believer, but I'm still not completely sold on Watson yet. So we'll see if he ends off the year like this, though. I mean, there's going to be no doubting. But if the touchdowns stop, where will he be? It was also interesting for Matt. It seems like James Cook got involved more. Put up 16 points, 14 carries, 6 catches. So compared to 13 carries for Singletary. Singletary did find the end zone, though. Yep. I think everybody on your team found the end zone.
Probably.
Gabe Davis did on his 2 catches.
Did Xavier Knight find the end zone?
No, he did not.
No. All right, there's the one guy that did, but he had pretty good stat line regardless.
Yeah, he had 90 yards. He's going to be the best practice squad running back ever next year.
Yeah, no.
Or third string behind Carter and
Hall.
That RB room's going to be kind of sick.
Yeah, it'll be enjoyable.
But yeah, it's interesting. I heard too, I wonder if Cook was involved more because it was a short week for them, right? Or did they...
No, it was 2 straight Thursday games.
Yeah, that is true. So maybe it wasn't a short week. I thought that was a thing. But I don't know. We'll see if Cook starts to take over that backfield or if it was just kind of a one-time thing. I think Cook's been overall disappointing so far. This was the first time he kind of actually showed.
His first carry in the first game of the year, he
fumbled and then I don't think played anymore.
Yeah.
But this could be good bright signs for Matt with Garrett Wilson and James
We've gone on way too long for the bottom 4 teams.
That is a good point. 8, I have myself. 7 and 6.
Well, it wasn't good. I'm not gonna lie.
My RBs are sick.
Yeah, no, they're cool.
Saquon had a big week-ish. He put up 19.1. He had the touchdown, a few catches. Brian Robinson is just, I think he's still getting healthier and looking better each week. I think in the beginning it was definitely why is this guy getting the ball? Now, better yards per carry. I feel like he's running a little bit stronger. Still probably nothing special. But, I mean, if you're getting carries, you're usually pretty good.
He has a big hat.
He does have a big hat. Swift is getting a lot more involved now, too. finally seems to be healthy. I think this is the first time he played over Jamal Williams, like more snaps than him and more like opportunities since that original injury in like week 8. So that's good. But yeah, the receivers obviously said Burks got hurt, Sutton got hurt. I was starting Olamide Zaccheaus.
Yeah, you're kind of talking a lot of shit last week about. I'll beat Matt with Olamide Zaccheaus, and
I still think I do if 2 players don't get hurt.
I mean that's fair, but
do you win if your 2 receivers got hurt this week?
Probably not.
I think that's the case for a lot of teams.
I mean, I think if my 2 receivers get hurt, I still outscore you.
If you lose 24 and 14, that's like 40. I don't know. Would have been close.
Would have been close.
You might have beat me by a point and still lost to Matt. So I think it's debatable. 6, I have James. Ryan's wagon is on a 3-game losing streak.
You mean 7? You said 6.
6 and 7.
No, you said number 6. I was like,
number
wait.
7, I have James. He's 6 and 7. How do you feel about your wagon?
I said last week that the Crusade are a wagon. That's a dead bandwagon. I said last week they're not a wagon. All right.
You've claimed them as a wagon.
Yeah, like 3 episodes ago.
And then
things
they've
can
only
change.
lost since.
Yeah, because I'm anti-collusion, and they're obviously colluding with the Cranberries, so therefore I jinxed him by saying he's a wagon. So the collusion doesn't work. Yeah, that's what you don't understand.
Well, the Ryan wagon curse still going strong.
Don't worry, guys. Next year, the Devil Rays are a wagon.
I got food.
Good job,
Everyone say hi to editor Ashley.
Hello.
She got Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Kind of want some
Yep.
too.
Yeah, but his team, Kirk, had a pretty good game. London finally had a big game after getting like 2 catches for most of these games for like under 30 yards. I think he had 4 or 5 games like under 40 yards.
Yeah.
Finally had 6 catches for 95. Obviously a really good sign for him. And Pierce kind of had that big game again. It'll be interesting to see how this all empties out. 6, I have Evan. Evan had a pretty bad week, failed to break 100, but that could be with Waddle being limited. Devonta Smith has stepped up and has looked better with Goddard hurt, so it'll be interesting when Goddard comes back. Does his like target share kind of drop again and Goddard get some of those targets, or do they stick with him? And who knows? But yeah, his team is getting injured, kind of falling apart. Hopkins was on a bye, which hurt, so still think he's a solid team and can get into the playoffs, but it will be interesting. 5, I have Ethan, who's 6 and 7. Ethan won this week. He put up 110, and that was with Chubb and ETN both scoring 8 and 7, so like 15-ish combined. Getting Chase back is huge for him.
Absolutely.
Keenan Allen had a big game, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of games where Travis Kelce is scoring 7. This is the first time he went under 10 all season, so I think we're expecting Kelce to kind of bounce back and look better in the future. It'll be interesting again, me and him matching up. What happens there? Does Ethan sneak in, or does he fall short after putting up a very respectable points scored? Just the worst defense we've seen ever. 4, I have Zach at 7 and 6 too. His team put up 185.34.
Is what Jones drew a wagon?
Ryan is cursing Zach as we speak.
No, I'm not gonna say that. No, I like Zach. That's cool.
So you don't like James. Ryan doesn't like James. You heard it here first.
I like everyone in this league. I just have a tier.
Yeah, I think Devontae's been out of his mind. He's broke 30 points in 3 of his last 5 weeks. So he's obviously getting targeted like crazy and just putting up
I mean, to be fair, with
Insane
no
numbers.
Renfro or Waller, who else is Derek Carr going to throw to?
Mac Hollins to win Jasmus a championship.
Can he really keep getting away with this?
Maybe. But yeah, McCaffrey. Zach's like everybody looked good except for Kittle, who I gave him. Only put up 4.2, and Mike Evans only put up 9. Another kind of down week for Evans, but we'll see how that kind of turns out. 3, we got Griff at 9-4. Lost this week, but put up the 3rd most points. Just got unlucky with the matchup.
Played a very powerful War Eagles team.
Yeah, the Saints are. Kamara's usage seems so questionable, but Amon-Ra played really well. Jefferson did Jefferson stuff. Pollard had another big game, 2 touchdowns, but came up just short. He's still fighting for that bye with the number 2 seed Trevor, who's also 9-4 and on a 6-game win streak. So he's definitely one of the hottest teams moving into this.
This is like the typical Trevor we see. We always talk about.
Yeah, iffy in the beginning,
and then just forgets how to lose.
Wins out.
Yeah.
Yeah. AJ Brown, 31, lost people on like 2 touchdowns. Metcalf had a big game. Terry had a big game. Like that's what these receivers could do. Got the win, even with Lamar putting up 1 and Derrick Henry putting up 5. So this is definitely a team to be feared heading into the playoffs as he tries to get the bye this week. And number 1, we have Jasmus, 13-0.
Looked okay. We're pretty good this week.
Yeah, put up 135. Jacobs has been amazing. Tyreek Hill.
I think it's amazing that like 135 is like an average week for Jasmus.
Yeah.
Like if I put up 135, like, oh, that's a great week from Ryan. Jazz does it like, yeah, I've seen better.
He's putting up 135, and he's starting like Zay Jones, freaking Harrison Bryant, Mac Hollins. Like,
It's not fair.
to be fair, I don't know what exactly else. He doesn't even have much better options on the bench. Losing Cup definitely made Jasmus more mortal, but we might see our first undefeated regular season.
We could.
So let's get into some playoff talk.
Do I have a chance again?
Still no.
Ah.
So basically, Trevor wins and Griff loses. Trevor gets the bye. Griff win, Trevor loses, Griff gets the bye. If they both win or both lose, Trevor would need to outscore Griff by 16.94 points to get the bye. If he doesn't outscore him by that and they do the same thing, Griff gets the bye. So that's how the bye is going to shake out for between Zach and Evan for the last playoff spot. If Zach wins, he is in. If they both do the same result, either both win or both lose, Zach is in because he's up like 250 points or something.
Yeah.
So Evan's only hope is to win and have Zach lose, which is very possible.
So Zach controls his own destiny here.
Yeah, Zach's in the driver's seat. Evan needs a thing to fall his way and get the win, but got to focus on the win and hope everything else falls in line. Your pick currently sits at pick 4. If you lose, Steve wins against Jasmus, and Steve outscores you by 15.36. That would get to pick 3.
Man, I'm so happy I have my pick this year.
And it could get to pick 5. If you win, James loses to Matt, and you outscore James by 41.56. So seems pretty locked in at pick 4.
Yeah.
Cherry clinches Bijan with a loss to you this week. If he wins and Matt loses, he would be basically locked in at pick number 2.
Okay.
Obviously, Jasmus has clinched the number 1 overall seed, just going for the perfect season.
So he'll have his own pick, or he'll pick his opponent second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, out of the 2 winners of the first round, he will get to pick. And that basically goes for Griff and Trevor. Whoever doesn't get the bye will pick their opponent in the first round.
Okay.
I make the playoff with a win, and I also make the playoffs with a loss. If James loses to Matt, or if James wins but doesn't outscore me by more than 8.14 points.
Okay.
So if me and James put up like the same amount of points, I lose and he wins, I still get in.
Okay.
Ethan clinches with a win. Ian can also get into the playoffs with a loss, but James would also need to lose again to Matt. But Matt showed he could get a win against me, so unlikely, but possible.
Hey, the last time Matt won a game, he won the next one.
That is true. James gets into the playoffs with a win and an Ethan loss. He also gets in with a win, a loss from me, but scoring more than 8.14 points than me. So, looks like I don't even know who's in the best spot right here. Probably me.
Probably you for the time being.
Because I could win and get in, and then
You
it's
could also lose
if I
and get in.
lose, it would just be basically score the same amount of points as James.
Yeah.
Ethan is another good spot to win and get in.
And I think James right now is in the worst spot.
It's also like me and Ethan could both get in. One of us is getting in for sure, whoever
Yeah.
wins. And then James wins. It's
a very
likely,
yeah.
unless he doesn't outscore me and I'm the one that loses. So
It's tough.
yeah, it's interesting. But lot unfolding there. Steve gets a number 3 pick. Only way, same thing that I said to you. He wins, you lose, and he outscores you by 15.36. That's the only way he gets pick
4.
pick 4 and not pick 3, and he can't move up to 2. And then Matt gets the number 1 pick with a loss and a cherry win. If not, he'll have pick 2. Granted, most of these people don't have their own picks.
I think
Cherry's the only one.
Cherry's the only one.
'Cause
Yeah.
I think Matt has Steve. I have yours. Evan has Matt's. Again, sorry, Evan, about blowing Jean for you.
Yeah, you need to send that man some flowers or something.
Yeah, and then, okay, I've kind of ranked my most important matchups this week as the ones to follow.
Okay.
Me versus Ethan, I think, is the number 1, just because it's winner gets in no matter what. One of these teams is going to the playoffs.
All right.
Next, I think Zach versus Griff, just because Zach controls his own destiny. Zach wins, he gets in. But it's also a big game for Griff because he needs to win and outscore Trevor.
Right. I think right now Sleeper has them 50-50. I don't know
Yeah.
if they've updated their rosters, if anyone's on a bye or anything, but
Big matchup for both of these. Griff obviously fighting for the bye, Zach fighting for his playoff spot. Next matchup is Trevor versus Evan, basically for the same reasons. Trevor fighting for the bye. Evan needs to win to keep his hopes alive. The one I have this a little bit below. Evan could still win and not get in.
yeah. No,
So-
that's fair. And then where does Steamrollers versus War Eagles fit in?
James versus Matt
Not there.
is
All right.
next because James needs to win to basically have a shot at the playoffs.
Yeah.
James loses, he's out. That's big. And then obviously Matt, if he loses, could get in. Next, you versus Cherry. This is probably Cherry's biggest game of the year that he needs to lose so he can get the number
You'll
1
also
overall
be
pick.
doing this trying to lose without any collusion. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to see Kenneth Walker hit the bench for.
Well, if Walker's hurt.
Well, if Walker's hurt, he can hit the bench. But I'm saying I don't want to see some practice squad guy who hasn't seen a snap all year come in for somebody who at least puts up points.
Yeah. So you could play spoiler to a playoff team in Griff and the number 1 pick in Cherry in back-to-back weeks.
I could also play a spoiler for you. Because,
How?
well, if you wanted a better pick out of my pick, it could be 3, could be 5, could be 4. We all thought it was going to be 2 at the start of the year.
Yeah. Well, you can't. You're
Oh,
not.
that's spoiler.
You're
but-
not really getting the 4 or 5.
And you weren't going to lose to Matt, right?
But just I don't know. I think it's very unlikely that you get to 3 or 5. I think you're basically locked in at 4.
And I thought you were pretty much a lock against Matt. That's why I picked you first last week. But,
Well, my whole team got.
And maybe my whole team gets hurt this week. I don't have Christian Watson. Nothing's guaranteed anymore.
That is true, but you seem pretty locked in on 4.
Okay.
This is more of a game for Cherry.
Yeah.
And lastly, Steve and Jasmine really means nothing. Steve
Not in it.
not in it. Jasmine's already clinched. It's basically just for the perfect season, and then the outside shot that you could jump Steve in the pick, but he'd have to beat Jasmus, which I don't think any of us expect, and still outscore you by like a good amount, and you'd have to still lose to Cherry, who's actively trying to lose.
Yeah.
So it is unlikely. And yeah,
Now let's talk about those matchups over at Matchup Previews. And that's how you pivot.
Yeah.
All right, we're back with Matchup Previews. We're joined once again by Ashley. She makes
Hello.
the video, the images that you see right before this. Did a good job. Good job, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Last week, this is gonna look like hell up here, but I went 4-2, meaning Adam went 2-4. My all-time record is 41-37. Adam's is 43-35. Still got 2 games on me. I have to catch up. Try and catch up this week. Steve, it was his first time here. He went 3-3, so not bad. And Bobby went 4-2, and that makes him 10-8 all time. In his 3 episodes he's been here for. This will be Ashley's second, so she's currently sitting at 3-3. But we'll see that next week. So Adam, that leaves you with the first pick this week. Who do we pick?
I'll go with James versus Matt.
All right, James versus Matt is what you want. It's actually a little bit closer than you might think. James is 3-2 all time against Matt with a 83.16 point differential. Again, this is a pretty big game for James. He has to win to have a chance. Matt is coming off a win next week. Let's hear who are you going to take, Adam?
I'm gonna go with James. I don't think Matt gets 2 in a row.
Okay, I'm going to be smart this week, and I'm going to write down what everyone picks, so I don't have to worry about it next week. But you did take James.
James is already projected to win by a good amount, and he still has Drake London in this lineup, who's on a bye. Puts in another player that's actually going to play, and I think he's got it.
Yeah, we would we'd hope that. Ashley, who are we thinking here?
Matt's starting Justin Jackson currently.
Okay, well that.
I'm also gonna say Matt.
I said James.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say Matt.
Oh boy.
Why?
Why?
First of all,
Can you read those numbers there and tell me what the difference is?
oh, I might go back to James now.
Okay. And is it because one of them is blue?
Yeah, one of the reasons was because Matt was blue, but
But then what color is James?
purple.
Is he? I'm colorblind, so.
Well, purpley. But also, I was gonna pick Matt because he had someone on the Jets team up top, and obviously,
And he's another Jets player.
and another
And he
Jets
has a guy
player,
named Herbert, too.
and a guy named Herbert.
But
Does
he's
he?
hurt. He's on IR.
And that's why I didn't pick him.
Because he hurt Herbert.
Yep. But yeah, I have to go with James because of the record.
Okay,
Sorry,
yeah.
Matt.
So, I'm forced to take Matt. The only thing I have going for me is the last time that Matt won to end a losing streak. He won the next game. All right? And history tends to repeat itself. Do I think it does here? Probably not, but stranger things have happened. So I guess that leaves me going back to my roots. I think it's going to happen. I'm thinking next matchup is going to be Jasmus versus the Cranberries. I think it's a no-brainer that I'm going to take Jasmus here. This is their first time ever meeting. And, yeah, I think Jasmus gets that perfect season. Sorry, Steve, but just not looking great right now. Adam?
Yeah, I would have think Jasmus does it too. But who knows? Last time Diggs went up against the Jets, he only put up like 14. not his best week. If Jacobs, he's questionable and it's a short week, maybe they'll kind of limit him, not overdo it with him. Deshaun Watson didn't look great in his first game, so we'll see what Watson does here. All in all, yeah, Jasmus likely wins, but
I would almost imagine he would start Fields this week.
Fields is on a bye, so
Oh,
that would be an
you can't do
interesting
that.
start.
Would be a very interesting start.
Jasmus tanks the undefeated season.
I'm also gonna pick Jasmus
Why?
because he hasn't lost. First of all,
Yeah.
plus been to his house, so
Jasmus is indeed a homeowner. All right, Adam, what matchup are we taking next?
Next, I'll go with me versus Ethan.
All right, we have the Dragons versus the Gladiators. This is what I would consider my matchup of the week. As we said, winner gets in.
Yeah, and I don't think it's me.
Okay.
Little reverse jinx here too.
Ethan is 2-1 against you. But you do have a 59.4 point differential against him.
I think the iffy thing here is, okay, if Sutton's hamstring is up and he misses time, and Burks is still out with a concussion, and Ben Skronik is also hurt, I don't have receivers. So I'm going to the waiver wire to pick up one, and then might have to go pick up another, and put waiver wires into my starting lineup in a must-win playoff game. So I'm more just hoping Sutton and Burks are healthy. Then I like my odds more, but could be scary.
Yeah, that's not ideal. Ashley, what do we make of this?
I'm gonna have to take Adam.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Bye.
But she'll break up with me.
I didn't pick myself.
You
Thanks,
need at
guys.
least one person supporting you, but also because that might be the only reason.
Oh. All right. So I guess the next matchup that I'll take is me versus Cherry, War Eagles versus the Steamrollers. Fun thing to note here: Christian Watson's on a bye, so I won't have any incentive to watch my wide receivers play football. I am 1-4 all time against Cherry. He does have an 85.56 point differential. I'm gonna take myself here. I think it's more, as we said earlier in the video, it's more than likely I win. Either way, I don't think it really matters. Like you said, there's a scenario where I jump down to pick 3 or something, but
Doesn't matter for you, but does matter for Cherry.
does matter for Cherry.
And I do also think you win. He's still projected to start Jamo. Don't know if that's smart. Maybe he gets a bigger role this week. His other options are, though, like LaVisca. I mean, Jawan Jennings, I guess. Could be something. It's also going to be interesting what he does if Kenneth Walker's out, because then he doesn't have any other running backs. So he'd also have to go to the waiver wires. I wonder if he's adding whatever's DJ Dallas, who's one of like the top running backs out there, or Tony Jones. It could be very ugly for him if both Homer and Walker don't play, but we'll have to see. So I probably would have took you, but
All right,
who
Ashley, are we
knows?
going with?
Is this the guy that you tweeted? Okay, Ryan.
Yeah, that's my name. Don't wear it out.
First of all, because it's right here.
Good choice.
Second of all, because he has DJ Chark. I have a long history with that guy.
What did DJ Chark do to you?
Nothing. I just was guessing a football player. What was I guessing? A wide receiver?
yeah, you got to guess a wide receiver in the NFL. And she goes,
DJ. Chark.
That's the football player she knew.
Yep, DJ Chark.
DJ Chark, yeah, there you go.
And yeah, that's it.
All right, Adam, your final pick today.
This is
It's tough. It's two 50-50 matchups.
yeah. Man, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna go with. I'll go with. Trevor versus Evan.
Trevor versus Evan. All right. Who are we liking in this matchup?
This one I think is really tough. Trevor, I think normally has the better team. Jonathan Taylor on bye, Terry McLaurin on bye, Michael Pittman on bye, Cordero Patterson on bye. Obviously, Lamar's hurt, who's his normal QB.
So Tim Brody's coming in.
Yeah, he's currently projected to start Evan Ingram this week, which, like, if Jacoby Myers doesn't play, even Jacoby's not been doing great recently. And Samaje Perine, who's been doing good, but if Mixon does come back, what does his role turn into? So I think that could be scary there. But the same thing, obviously, looking over at Evan's team, does Mike Williams play? Does Michael Carter play? If those guys aren't playing, his last flex spot goes to like Marvin Jones, Dontrell Hillard, which are interesting options. And even with Waddle still questionable, is he going to be limited or anything? So I guess I will take Trevor.
All right.
But this could really go either way. I just think I don't know. I think Trevor just might pull it out. Derrick Henry has a long history of killing Jacksonville, and that's who he has this week. So maybe he has one of those games.
Yeah, all time, Trevor's 3-2 against Evan with a 45.82 point differential. This is a big game for Evan, and I'm all for supporting Anteaters. This isn't Anteater stand account, as we all know. I think I like the storyline Evan making the playoffs. I think it's long overdue. So I like having the option that gives him the chance because Evan's a good friend of the program.
So it seems like you're taking Griff next week, or you're with your next pick.
Oh boy. Well,
let Ashley pick.
Ashley, who do we like, Evan or Trevor?
Probably the easiest decision. Trevor.
How's that easy? This is literally a 50-50.
He has Pierre Strong.
And
Adam was saying that they're missing a lot of players. I didn't know any of them, but I'm hoping one of them's a running back so Pierre can make his debut.
Well, the Patriots aren't.
Patriots aren't, though.
Yeah.
They're not playing?
No, they're just not.
Oh, they're not
missing.
They're not missing
They're
players.
not missing
No,
players.
no.
No, that's what he's not playing.
Pierre's not going to get in, probably.
Pierre,
You never know.
Pierre will be in the opening kickoff, and he'll block something.
He's definitely not going to be on Trevor's team.
Well, Trevor might cut him.
Then I might have to switch. No, I'll stick with Trevor.
Okay, you go with Trevor. Now, this is my tough question. All right. The last matchup is the Devil Rays versus What Would Jones Drew, or if you're Bobby, What Would Jesus Do?
That's funny.
Someone clearly watches when Bobby's on, or any of them. Yeah, because Zach has looked really, really good. But for the Anteaters to get in, I would need a Devil Ray victory. You know what? I'm going to do it. Despite the fact that it doesn't fit my narrative too well, I'm taking Griffin to win here. He is 3-1 all time versus Zach, who happens to be related to him. They're brothers. And there is a 75.32 point differential. So I'm going to have GM Andrews taking down GM Andrews.
Yeah, another one with some buys here. Griff missing. Alvin Kamara. Zach missing. Aaron Jones and Montgomery. So he's going to need Mixon to be out or in to get him in the lineup. There's a lot of really good matchups here. Jefferson and Amon-Ra St. Brown going against each other. Two pretty bad defenses, two really good receivers that could put on a show where both of these guys put up 25-ish. Obviously, talked about Devontae Adams. He's going up against the Rams. The Rams are bad, so Devontae Adams could easily put up 36 again. I think this will be a high-scoring game. I believe Zach can get it done, but again, these two matchups are so close. So much on the line, too. But I think Zach could pull it out very easily, but also not very easily.
All right, Ashley, who do we think?
I'm also gonna pick Zach because he has George Kittle, and that guy has a lot of really cool pictures.
Okay.
And I think this guy was in the Super Bowl last year on the blue team.
No, he was on the orange
He's on
team.
the orange team.
Dang it.
That's Joe Shiesty.
But I do remember him from the Super Bowl, so
That's Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Shiesty.
So I'm gonna pick Zach.
All right, that pretty much wraps up matchup
Big
previews.
matchups this week.
Big matchups. Also, if I get two right, all right, I get a game or so over Adam. I think that would. I have to actually no. I think I have to go 5-1 to catch up to you. I think that.
Then I think.
Do
we
I know
beat
how to
you then.
math? Yeah,
Yeah. You're
Yeah.
2 games back.
yeah.
So you gotta pick up 2.
Got to pick up 2 here, but there's still playoffs. There just won't be as many matchups to pick from.
That is true. Ashley
We'll-
was really excited to pick matchups again.
I was.
And now let's head over to the questions. We'll be right back.
Oh.
We're back. Ashley's back. And when we meet back, we meet behind the couch. She wasn't a fan of squeezing after matchup previews.
Yeah.
We have some questions from around the league, as the picture said. Thank you again, Ashley. So do you want me to do that? Do we have any questions? Does Ashley have any questions?
Ashley, do you have
for us?
any questions?
We need an Ashley question this week.
Did I have any questions recently?
Probably, but I don't remember all of them. Ooh, you did. You asked,
Why some players were drafted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ashley, she recently texted me and goes, why do these guys say they were drafted for the NFL when the draft hasn't happened yet? They just declared for the
They
draft.
declared for
Yeah.
the draft, yeah.
And she just thought they were drafted.
Well, to be fair, I hadn't read the whole post yet.
But you did text me before you.
Yeah, because someone had read it to me, but I was like, this is weird.
So yeah, no, they players have to like say, hey, I'm going to the draft. You can't just be like, oh, we're taking this guy who's a sophomore and he has to now leave school and go to the
That
NFL.
makes sense.
What did you ask? You asked one about not laterals.
Oh! What was it? I did come up with another question first, though. If you're in the draft now, doesn't mean you have to get drafted, right?
No.
You might still not get drafted.
Yeah.
Most people, when you see like a headline declare for the draft, they're probably going to be drafted.
But like the kids from Central, they're probably not likely to.
Yeah. But what was the question? It was something about like when you tackle someone, wasn't it?
Like, when you tackle them, you make sure that you get on the ground. You play stops.
No.
Is it about laterals or something?
Oh, something about it's like when you get a touchdown 2 feet in the thing
Oh.
in the end zone, but what if you dive headfirst? and then it's the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like to catch it, you need both feet in. But she's like, if you're running in, do you need to get both feet in?
No, you just need the ball to cross the plane. Interesting rule: if you hold the ball and like out of bounds, if you dive and you hold the ball out of bounds, it doesn't count for a touchdown because you never broke the inbounds plane.
Oh.
So if you're on the sideline and you put your hand out like this and the pylon's like going under your arm like that,
The what?
the orange cone thingy in the end zone, and it goes under your arm like that, you're actually down at the 1 yard line because you.
Even if you then bring the ball back in?
If you eventually bring it in, it's a touchdown. But if you hold out like this and then like you drop it, technically you're down at the 1.
Okay. And I think I had another one. It had to do with something.
I would hope football.
Wait, I have it, but I don't. I feel like it had to do with. I don't remember.
This was good. Thanks for this.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'm gonna think of it soon. Hopefully.
All right.
All right, if you think of it, let us know.
All right.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for Ashley?
Ashley had a good moment today. She knew Aaron Judge was a baseball player.
Oh wow.
I did. And then I got confused when they said they went to the Giants.
And funny enough, the Giants in baseball used to play in New York, so there'd be the New York Football Giants and the New York Baseball Giants. Then
That would have
the
been even
baseball
worse.
ones moved to San Francisco
Good.
in like the 50s or something. I forget.
Yeah, that part confused me when Bobby said he went to the Giants or got an offer from the Giants. Wait, what?
You playing football
I
now?
thought you. And then you said that, and I was like,
Okay, Ashley, here's my question
thought
for
so.
you. Who plays at Soldier Field?
can you tell me the state?
Chicago.
What sport?
Football.
Bills?
It
Yeah.
starts with a B.
Oh,
no, it's not that. No,
oh, that's
it's
the
not a
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Chicago Bears.
Yeah. I was listening to the joke of the one Adam was telling me where he's asked you who played at Soldier Field and you said the Bruins. Which,
I
technically
forgot.
speaking, correct animal, wrong name.
I didn't even know that, but I guess
Yeah,
so.
Bruin is a bear. But not the Bears.
Think of anything else. So I guess we're gonna answer some of these.
Okay.
Okay, if you chime in whenever you want, please. I'd
Yeah,
love
if
to hear
you
your
have
thoughts on this.
Yeah, let's hear some.
All
thoughts on
right,
these.
so our first couple questions come from Griffin. Obviously, we're recording it later than we usually do because I started a new job that required me to pretty much be working until Adam had to go to his job, and then, yeah. But Griffin asks, how is the late night mentality? How do you think it's going to affect this episode?
I think the episode's been good. Definitely some.
Sorry.
Keep going.
Definitely some rambles here. Definitely some off topics. Probably a longer one, but who cares? It's currently 12:37 as we're
on
filming
Wednesday
this.
morning. So this is the first Sock Talk to be recorded on Wednesday.
On Wednesday. And then we got Bobby was here this morning, so we would have had Bobby instead. Instead, we got Ashley.
Even better.
Obviously wasn't planning on missing or having to move it back, but such is life. He also asked, what do you think this last week would look like if the trade that never happened? It was Griffin would send Kamara and Deontay Johnson to Trevor for Derrick Henry and Jacoby Myers. Would that affect what you thought of this week?
What?
I remembered something I said the other day.
There you
All
go.
right, let's hear
when
it.
you were saying you were offering a trade to, I think, Trevor or something.
Oh my God.
What was it?
And then,
Okay.
Yeah, you go.
So
I don't remember it.
So I don't know. We're talking about trades. I'll talk about trades with Ashley and Bobby, even though Ashley doesn't really know what she's talking about.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. Me and Trevor talked about getting a quarterback. I think he talked to a lot of people about getting a QB from them.
Yeah.
So then I was like, she's like, oh, did you do the trade? And then I was like, What was it?
You were like, I offered him something, but he went another way.
Yeah, I was like,
And
he went a
then-
different direction.
And then he was like, wait, what was...
And then you said,
No, because you said what the trade was that he did.
yeah,
You were like, Tom Brady for
Matt Stafford.
Matt. And I was like, so did you have Tom Brady or Matt Stafford?
And
And he was
none
like,
of them were.
no, I said, do you have Tom Brady? And he goes, no. I was like, so you had Matt Stafford? No. And I was like, so how did you do this trade? Or something like that.
And he didn't. It was for somebody else.
Because then I said, or I don't know if I said a different direction or something, but I was like, oh, we went a different way or something. And then she was like, well, I thought you still meant with you. I was like, I said I offered this, it got rejected, and he went a different way.
I thought he meant a different way with Adam.
I was like, no,
it
another
was
team.
not that. Don't touch him. All right.
Okay, but if the trade goes through, you could take the lead on this one.
I would say, I think Griff, if everything goes to plan as it's supposed to this week, I think Griff would clinch the bye.
Yeah, it would be interesting because I
Because-
feel like Trevor would kind of be giving up the bye, but then working to keep Zach out of the playoffs because Kamara's on a bye. Deontay Johnson also hasn't looked obviously
stellar.
great. Kind of just sits around like 9-ish
And
points a game.
Henry's playing the Jags, who he's historically just destroyed.
Yeah, so then if we look at who Trevor's running backs would be, it would be Samaje Perine and Mike Boone or Naheem Hines or Ty John, like someone like that instead of Derrick Henry. So then I think Evan's definitely the favorite there. Then if Evan wins, Griff would also be more likely to win, being able to start, just say, well, Derrick Henry for Deontay Johnson. I think that's an upgrade. So then maybe he's more likely to win. Griff probably more likely to get the bye and win. And then Evan more likely to beat Trevor. So then more likely that scenario could play out where we do see Evan in the playoffs. So I think trade value-wise, yeah, Deontay's worth more than Jacoby, and I think Henry's probably worth more than Kamara. But so I think it would be kind of a fair trade, but I think it could definitely change out if, like, who gets the bye and who gets in and out of the playoffs. It also obviously could not, but
Yeah. I mean, I'd have to agree there. I think Griff would, for this week, be in a better standing. But future-wise, I'd probably lean more Trevor.
I don't even know. I think I might like Henry in the future more than Kamara. Saints aren't using Kamara well.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, no, that's fair. But Griffin also asks, what would Jones do championship odds? I don't know, man, plus 1,000. He's not really in the playoffs right now.
Yeah, could miss the playoffs. It's that weird spot where he could miss the playoffs, but if he gets in, he could definitely make noise.
Everyone used to let people gamble on this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
On the fantasy?
Yeah, no, I used to. People would bet, and I had to pay them if they won.
And he got the money if they lost.
Yeah, it was a good time. I had to stop that because at one point I was broke, and I'm like, I can't just take bets and then not be able to pay them. I was like, yeah, no, this can't keep happening. It was supposed to, if I had, a consistent cash, I could be like, oh yeah, I could, send this guy, $30 this week, and then it's like, oh no, I can't do that anymore. So now Cherry asked questions. So what do you think pick 1 means to his team? Means Bajan, who is one of the best running back prospects.
Probably the best since Saquon.
Sorry. Griffin, to answer your question with the late night mentality, a lot more yawning this episode, at least from me. But yeah, Bajan would be good in Cherry's team. It would be Bajan and Ken Walker as his running back core. That's pretty good. And then you have elsewhere to look for a receiver, which I think is a more easier position to kind of fill.
I think Griff just actively changed this lineup in front of my eyes.
Did
That
he
was
really?
cool.
That's pretty cool.
But I don't know. I think, yeah, it's obviously huge for Cherry, and I think puts him in a good spot. It'll be interesting what he does. I think it's also getting Bajan is huge, but also the possibility to get a massive haul is another option with that pick.
Yeah.
If you want, you could probably get multiple firsts already for him, or a really good proven player in a pick, something like that. Like, you could probably give up that and get a ton of value and assets back, which, granted, Bijan by all means seems good, but it's also, we haven't seen him in the NFL, so who knows? But that could be another way to add a ton of value to Cherry's team.
Yeah. And he also asked us at the trade deadline if we were like a decent team. So this is maybe more direct towards you, but also I can answer it if I hypothetically tried this season. He said if you had the opportunity to get like a solid veteran player like Mike Evans for good picks, would you take that opportunity? Or how would you approach that?
What do you mean by good picks?
I would probably mean like a first in the upcoming draft. Like if you were offered right now for your team, say you had a decent team, you're in a spot like similar to where you are right now, it's like a win to get in. If you were offered like Mike Evans for like a first and a second, would you take that?
Me personally, no. But I think there's also scenarios where it does play out. I think if you are like up there in points scored, like if you're looking at like a Zach team or an Ethan team that's on the bubble, I think it makes more sense for them to buy because, I mean, Zach's up there with everybody. He's second most points scored in the league. So it's like averaging the second most points a week. Like he's clearly a good team. So to go out and then be like, I'll give a late first or mid-late first to go add a player that is going to help my team make the playoffs, I think it makes a ton of sense. Same thing with Ethan, who's up there in points for. I think if you're like a my team where I was this year, I'm clearly angled towards the future, having multiple picks. I'm thinking next year I'm probably going to be more competitive, stuff like that. My points for is only in the 1400s. Like, I'm only 50 more than you. So it's not like I'm having a dominant year. It's like I kind of just got lucky with some matchups. Like, I beat Griff twice, but I faced him on two of his lowest weeks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think if you look at my roster, that's basically what I did with the Kittle trade too. I did the math a few weeks ago, but it's like if I played Zach every week, it's like I'd have like 4 wins. If I played Ethan every week, I'd have like 3 wins. If I played Evan every week, it's like I'd have like 5 wins. And it's like if I play like some of these good teams, it's like 2 wins. So it's like through 10 weeks, I'm only winning 3 times. Is this player really going to make all the difference for me? It's like it could, but probably not. But I think, I don't know. It's personal preference. I think if you can get a player that's going to contribute to help you win a championship, that's obviously the main point.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. I would probably consider it. I think another big question to have is like, do we have a team like Jasmus where it's like, even if you get Mike Evans, how likely does that help you?
Yeah, if the team's too loaded or not. I also think it's a little like some personal preference too.
I'm just using Mike Evans as an example that Cherry gave. It's like a veteran player.
Yeah, I think, but it's also, I wouldn't want to overpay. Like, I wouldn't want to give up a top 5 pick for Mike Evans.
Yeah.
If it's like a late first, like if you're like, I'm already in the playoffs, so this will be anywhere from 7 to 12, and this could help me get to the 10-12. It's like, yeah, giving up pick 10 for Mike Evans is fine. Giving up pick 2 for Mike Evans?
Probably not.
I think I'd rather hold the value.
That's fair. Yeah. And lastly, we have 2 questions from Ethan. This kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about pick 1-1, but Ethan asked, what do you think the true value of 1-1 is?
I
think it really depends on the class.
Well, yeah, I think he's meaning this year.
This year, I would say probably, if you're just trying to trade picks, I'd say 3 firsts.
I think like it definitely could be that, like early first, mid first, and a second maybe, or like a young player or something. A few
Yeah.
young players, and I think it's a fair argument to have, because that's a steep price to pay, but it is for like a generational prospect. But yeah, obviously it depends on the years. Some years it's definitely more valuable than others, but I don't know. He could be the best player ever. Tears ACL year one, miss some of year two because of it, and you're like, man, I really could have had this guy, and this guy. But it's also like, if he does what people are expecting is a top 3 dynasty RB the second he touches the field, like that's super valuable for a team that's trying to compete.
Yeah. Yes, Ashley.
Thought of a question. How come? Are we talking about round one, pick one? Person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. How come why is this person that's like 22 or something straight out of college better than this like 24-year-old that's been the running back for 3 years?
Well, it depends on who the running back is and
Yeah.
who it is, because I think it's
But like,
fair.
if you have a good running back that's been there for 3 years, why is this guy that just joined gonna start over him?
Well, I mean,
Well, it wouldn't be he's starting over him. It would be more he's more valuable. Because,
younger.
okay, who would you rather have? Like, a senior on your soccer team that's really good, or a freshman that's, like, maybe smidge worse, but then you'd have him for 4 years.
Probably that one.
So that's the same thing with the draft. It's like, if he's...
But I feel like on your fantasy team, like you always play your young people. Not always, but I feel like a lot of the times it's like you're playing your young people.
I don't know if that's true.
I might be wrong then.
Because I think you just play the people that are I think most teams you need a mix. You want young players that are going to try to grow and get better, but you need those like people that have been good for 5 years. And I think if it's like a player that's like this level and the incoming guy is here, it's like, and this guy's only 2 years older, it's like, yeah, this guy. So I think like Jonathan Taylor is probably similarly valued to 101. I think if Hall stayed healthy and was good all year, he'd be valued to 101. Yeah.
And then also like this guy's really good in college.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like the number 1 pick in college. But like it's college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you go pro, it's like completely different.
Yeah, but when we like draft in this league, we're only taking guys that are coming out of college. So it's not like we're redrafting everybody.
No, I know, but I'm saying like in general for football, like you're taking this guy that seems to be really good in football, but like and he's like the pick 1.
Yeah.
I guess that's kind of what that question was. But then how come like how do you know that pick 4 isn't like already so much better when he gets put against all these better players?
We don't.
That's the thing. You don't. But
You
you're
don't,
making.
but
So then why is this pick 1 such a big deal?
because you have the pick 1, it's instead of just being like a one player pick 1, it's the option to take literally anybody. So it's like if you have the first pick in the draft,
3 people could be gone.
3 people you like could be gone. So pick 1 is like the symbol. Like you have everybody to choose from, and no one can jump you and take the guy you want.
So it's
like,
not like specifically like this one guy should be taken. It's just you have anyone.
Well, this year it's
This
this
year
guy
it
should be
is.
taken.
In previous years, there have been questions like who truly is 1-1. And when you say like this guy's really good in college, the guy that we're talking about is more than really good right now. Like he's putting up like ridiculous like video game numbers right now.
I don't even know if his numbers are that good, but he's just so efficient with everything. It's like, okay, technically, you take the best girl on your soccer team, and it's like, there's always an option that you are, not that you're not the best, I'm kidding, you're the best. You take the second best,
And me.
and but it's like, yeah, you could possibly do better against pros than the best player. But if they're your best player and have been better against this competition, why would you randomly now be better at a higher level?
Because your team's worse in college.
But that's why that is something that comes into like fact later on if you're playing.
Or you're on a better team, so then you look better.
If you're playing at Central, you're playing worse competition. So yeah, that's something you take into effect. But when you're playing on these high level schools that are ranked and you're playing other ranked teams and you're doing good against those teams, a lot of those guys are going to the NFL anyway. So you're already playing against people that'll probably be in the NFL soon.
That makes sense.
So like the Power 5 conferences or like the top conferences. He's good there.
So he should be good in the NFL.
And it's like if he's also faster than everybody else in college, like all the other guys that you could take, stronger, more agile, and then also looks better when you're watching him play, why would you be like, oh, I would rather have this guy?
That's true.
And it's like they do have data that, like, obviously the combine. You watched the combine last year where you fell in love with Pierre.
Yeah.
And it's like combine numbers don't mean anything, but it's like you look back and it's like, okay, this guy ran this time, this speed, this strength, everything like that. And now this guy put up the same numbers, and when he did it, he was really good in the NFL. And you're doing the same thing, you possibly could be really good too. Especially when you look good against the other college competition like they did.
Yeah. And then what if, like, but is it, I don't know about football as much, but soccer, like, you might want a person in this position that does this because your team plays like this. It's like, what if, one, you're like, this guy is supposed to be the best, but he's not what my team wants. Is that a thing or no?
Well, not for
fantasy.
not for fantasy because
That's
you
like
need
real
real
but
points.
for
But yeah,
real
there
football.
is a thing in real football.
This guy's not going first overall in the NFL draft.
Yeah,
He's not?
No.
because running backs aren't valued a ton in the NFL. He'll probably go up in the first round
Oh, so he's just going to be really good for you guys.
for
Yeah.
fantasy.
For
Yeah,
fantasy.
but there is cases where he technically could not be the first overall pick if he goes to a team that like has a really good running back too, where he'd have to split time.
Patriots.
Yeah, do other stuff with them. It's like, yeah, he could definitely lose value because of that. And there's some, like, I think if we look at like a modern example, Clyde went to the Chiefs. I just think he was a horrible scheme fit for the Chiefs. So it's like they wanted a player that more gashes, he might dance a little more. Didn't really work out there, and he's kind of looked at as like a bust. But it's like, yeah, Taylor, it always felt like he was like the perfect scheme fit for the Colts. They do like power runs, and he's really good at that in college. So you did that in college, so you're probably going to be good at it in the NFL. So there is some scheme fits that you look into, but this guy is like so good, he probably doesn't matter what the scheme is.
Okay.
And it's also other things you look at, like he was really good at 18 years old against 21-year-old NFL players.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
All right, so we have one more question. Really hope my phone isn't dead. That would suck because then we're just talking to ourselves. But Ethan finally asked, are there any players that are truly untouchable?
Yeah,
Probably
Jefferson.
Jefferson. Maybe
That's
even
it.
Jamar Chase. I mean,
Yeah, I guess Chase you could put in there.
Chase, I mean, I don't even know if I think if Breece Hall stayed healthy, he could be in the conversation, but it's...
I don't know. I think it's running backs are hard to be untouchable just because they normally have shorter careers.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, obviously if you're... It also depends on the team. Where it's like, yeah, if... Like, I think Jefferson is... If you're competitive or rebuilding, he's untouchable. But I think if you have, like, Breece Hall and you're, like... Or, like, Jonathan Taylor right now and you're rebuilding, it's like... I don't need a running back to be scoring me a ton of points. I'll trade him.
Yeah.
Where, like, Jefferson is different, so he's still going to be good for 8 years. Taylor, probably only, like, the next 3, 4. Like, be good till he's 27. Jefferson could be dominant until he's, like, 32.
All right, yeah. And that's all we have for today.
I do have some.
Oh, you do have some. Okay.
One main one, and it's with the NIL deals. Do we think we see more people stay in college? We saw Boutte, And it's like, yeah, they're not probably making NFL money, but some of those like round 3 picks that would have declared earlier, do we think they might stay at like their big school to get paid a few million and hopefully improve their draft stock?
I think it's very possible we see that. Again, obviously the later you go in the draft, the less money you get off the bat.
Yeah.
So maybe they're thinking, hey, I'm like projected like 5th round here as a junior. I'll stay, maybe go up to like a 3rd or a 2nd, and I'll make money while I'm in school.
Yeah. Even with like, obviously, I don't think anyone thinks Bijan's going to stay.
No,
but like,
I doubt
what
it.
if Texas offered him like an NIL deal, something, and it's like he could make like 15 million this year? It's like, still just dominate college, do this. It's like, I think a lot of these guys do want to go pro, and he's going to be likely a 1st-round pick, so not him, but like maybe some of these later guys like Blake Corum, who also got hurt, like he could definitely go back, where in the past maybe he'd go. Some of these like 3rd-round guys that are going to be looked at as assets might just be like, I'll take the money of college.
Yeah, it's very possible, I think. I again, like I said, I think you'll see it in more guys that aren't 1st or like 2nd round picks.
I was thinking more of that like 3rd round that are at a big school. Like if Corum's going in the 3rd, but at Michigan where you could make a lot of money, Tank at Auburn where he could make a lot of money, like these bigger schools.
Yeah.
Or anybody like if they transfer to like USC and could get a bag there, kind of like what Addison did. I think it'll be interesting to see if that does happen. But yeah, that was really my only question.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes.
Okay. What do we got?
Kind of what you said, but not really actually at all. But that's what made me think. But if someone were to get hurt in their last year,
At
but
college?
yeah, but they had like half a season or something, and it's not like it's not like they'll be hurt the next year, the next season. How much does that affect their drafting?
A guy tore his ACL in the championship game, so he just got back this week, and he still went in the first round.
He still went in the 1st round. Most of the times, if you've
like he missed the whole season.
Yeah, he came back. This was his first week playing because he got hurt in January in the last game of college football, tore his ACL.
Okay.
But he still got taken in the first round because you're looking at more than just one season.
Yeah, it's
looking at the bigger picture.
If you've proven talent, will it hurt a little bit if you get hurt?
There are some cases he might have been the number 1 receiver taken. Instead, he was like the 3rd. And like David Ojagbo, he tore his Achilles, and he was looked at as being like a mid-1st round pick. He fell to like the 2nd. So like it does happen, but usually you don't go from being like he was going to be the 1st overall pick to then not drafted.
Yeah, it's usually like if you've shown that you have talent, the injury won't hurt you too much.
Because you probably have at least like 2.5 years of tape where they saw you play.
Yeah. Like they know what you're capable of. It's just you're hurt, which happens in football.
Yeah, rehabbing. Obviously, if it's like a broken neck or something, like Justin Ross, where it's like he looked great, but it's like had next like spinal fusion surgery or something, or like a really serious injury that can hold you down. But like an ACL or something, probably not as
usually
much.
not. I think that's gonna wrap it up today. Thank you guys for watching as always. When we come back next week, we will get you guys prepared for the
round
Sockley
1 of the
playoffs. Quarterfinals. Hopefully we'll know who's playing who. There are some decisions to make there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we will see you guys next Thursday.
Long episode.